Hello. Thanks to everyone for attending this very last session. Mr. Yongbam Kim did mention his session was the very last one, but actually this is indeed the last one. We have a very spacious stage and spacious room with a very cozy set of the audiences, so we'll try to make it as fun as possible. Please, everyone, join me welcoming all these esteemed speakers. Mr. James Kwon from Delabs. Following that, please, Han from Note Games, Mr. Seunghwan Oh from OVERTAKE, and Sadiq from Lysto. Alrighty. Why don't we try to make this session as light as possible, as casual as possible, and as alpha as possible. So why don't we try to get a brief introduction from our esteemed speakers, starting from Mr. James.
Yes, I'm James Joon Kwon. I'm a CEO and founder of Delabs Games, based in Seoul, Korea. I've been in game industry for about 23 years. I have gone through all these package games, console games, and online games, free-to-play, mobile games, and smartphone games. Now I'm challenging on Web3 games. Okay, that's me.
Hello everyone, my name is Han Yu and I'm CEO of Streamers, a Web3 game publishing company. And also I'm one of the founding teams of Not Games, which is a game studio behind game League of Kingdoms. And League of Kingdoms is one of the oldest blockchain games. And recently this year, we're thinking of actually building a blockchain game platform. So I think it's timely to sit on a panel where we talk about platform. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Seunghwan. I'm from OVERTAKE. I serve as a CSO at the company. We're also a gaming platform newly launched in February. We are a sister company of Item Mania, if you haven't heard of it. It's a game asset trading platform. And before working here, I was a consultant at BCG. And I'm quite new here, and I'm trying to adjust to the atmosphere. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sadiq from Lysto. We are building out what we call as LinkedIn for gamers, and till now, we've been in operation for 2 years. We have 600,000 users, and we have raised around 15 million from leading investors like Hashed, founders of Polygon, Pantera, and others. And before this, I was part of the founding team of Quicksilver, which was the largest prepaid platform in Asia, which was acquired by Pine Labs in one of the largest fintech deals in India. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. We have a full spectrum of industry expertise here. In order for us to discuss about gaming platform, user behavior and user acquisition, and just overall platform experience, we first have to understand what does a platform mean. We'll start with this first question. Could you elaborate your the best platform experience? This platform experience can be in-game, could be non-game, doesn't really matter. Just any platform experience. Why don't you start with Mr. James once again?
I think the platform I use most is KakaoTalk. I think I open up at least 30 times a day, and not only chatting, but also you can do shopping, and you can log in and also do some other things in KakaoTalk. And also I think I use a lot of YouTube and Instagram. So good experience. The good platform is about making a habit to go there very often. and so make a kind of hook to the platform. So, I mean, in terms of a game platform, I used to be a CEO of Nexon before, and the Nexon tried to make it a gaming platform because, you know, gamers just come in and play MapleStory and just leave, and or like play a crazy arcade and just leave. There is no player liquidity or like players flow around between the games. So I think most importantly is some kind of engagement at the platform level. So platforms should be able to hook the players or users to the platform. So I'm going to talk about it later.
I mean the term about the hook.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Our next turn, Mr. Han.
So I think for me, like we're living in a platform economy, so I don't really think that I don't really identify which platform I find it like most compelling. But I think, or hate or not, I think Meta and its subsidiaries like Meta, Instagram, and all these social media platforms. I think they are doing a great job and sort of showing a case where platform, like as a platform, which is actually connecting different types of data and being sort of a matchmaking business, can be such a big tech company or empire. I think the platform itself, the concept of platform predates the platforms that we currently recognize, the Meta or some other like platform businesses. I think that even like TV and newspaper could be a platform because they are those information that like a single point of entry of information is shared and disseminated, distributed across multiple audiences. But just how this logistics, how this delivery happens is, I think, the platformization itself is transforming. So it started from like more of a passive way where it's like lean back and then the audiences only could consume whatever that's served to them. And in the era of like the before Meta or these platform companies existed, like TV or newspaper was a good example of it. And when we come into the platform economy, this Meta and all these platform companies, whether it be like Netflix or Amazon, all these companies are providing a little bit more like engagement with the audiences. Audiences are not just consuming whatever that's served, but they're getting recommendations and they can choose from them. I think in the future with the blockchain technology, we believe that it will disrupt a lot of these key pillars of the platforms, where data infrastructures and the market, which is matchmaking between these data that are existing, and also the governance of it will be all decentralized. And it will be very interesting to see how the platform will evolve in that era.
Thank you. Seunghwan,
Yeah,
your best platform.
adding on to that, for me, I like dating platforms. It's for a platform to monetize from its users. I think it's very important to touch their desires and touching their desires, but not too directly. So, for example, LinkedIn, as he mentioned before, I think the users of the LinkedIn uses LinkedIn to how do I say it? Like to exaggerate their careers or to be in a very prestigious company. I like their logos and stuff like that. And touching these points as a platform to make the users come in more often and creating user stickiness is all about their dopamine. So I have a lot of thoughts on this. I don't think it's the only way to monetize, but to, in a short term, show a successful financial result, it's very important to approach what they need in terms of desires. Thanks.
Do you think, before we move on, do you think these desires are homogeneous or heterogeneous?
In a very high level, it's homogeneous, but of course, I think but there are segments. I think it's not very it's not all different for every individual, but it's all in segments. So I think it's very important for the companies to shape which segments are bigger and what their willingness to pay is, and calculate through a scientific approach.
Yeah. I think one of the platforms that effectively is probably my best one is Waze. I'm not sure if you guys have used Waze. They have actually seamlessly integrated data, technology, people, and utility. How do you take a simple maps, a boring maps application, and effectively how do you make it useful with all these 4 layers? I think they have fabulously integrated these things into in a way that it is effectively very easy to use. There are people motivated to add to data, which are instantaneous, whether there's an accident, whether there is thing. And then there is of course, there is mundane data of buildings, locations, roads, etc. And the technology to seamlessly just make it available to users at the right time in real time. So I think that's one of the most fabulous applications and integrations that I've ever seen in a product as such.
Thank you. We already have a pretty good set of keywords that defines a good platform: hook, utility, user behavior, and economic power, right? So why don't we try to focus on the user side then? We talked about platform side. Let's talk about user side. So a lot of people say, and we all say actually, platform is just equal to number of users, right? Do you think, how do you think a user can possibly add value to the platform from a user perspective? And second question, so these are 2 questions. That was number 1. Number 2, is a specific subset of the user more valuable than the other in the platform? Why don't we start with Sadiq first this time?
Yeah. So I definitely believe that when we have users of the platform, there will be some depends on what's the end objective, right? There will be some who are more monetizable than others. So that's one value. There are some who would be important to drive new users to the platform, right? That's another value. There are a certain set of users, the presence of whom actually derives more engagement and brings other users back again and again. So definitely there are different segments, and I mean the last part is there are some users who probably are ambassadors. They are at a different level because that's the one that you showcase when you want to grow your platform. So definitely there are different segments of users, and depends on what is the core objective. Different users play different roles at various points in time. Yeah.
Thank you.
From my experience, I was once a data scientist, and I did really a lot of user analysis on which user is valuable to a certain platform. But I also said segments, but if you actually look into the user's behavior, it's always the Pareto. So the 20% of the users covers almost all the financial volume, and other 80% of the users are not really high spending users mostly, but their characteristics are quite different. So if for instance, I once did an analysis on a movie streaming platform. Their streaming times they're very heavy users, 20%, and 80% of the users spend similar time. but their tastes are very fragmented. But still, that's in a very large segment. So some people watch animations, some people watch horror movies, some people watch action movies. So it's always in a certain archetype of users, and I think it's very important for a platform to succeed, measure the size of the users and their payments, and where to focus on. But the question was, how could the users
Is one user better than the other?
sorry?
Is one user better than the other?
Yeah, I think the 20% of the user is very important. Most of the platform has to focus on them, but other users, they give us the variety. That's what I think.
Thank you.
I think it was actually really well put that I think there are segments and there are different types of data-driven marketing. The fact that it exists is that I think there are a little bit of a differentiation between what companies or platforms put values to each segment or each groups of users. So I don't think maybe it's too it's I'm not sure it's good to say one user base is better than another, but I think it really depends and boils down to what the company or the project is targeting. So for example, like some like ad serving platforms will value just sheer number of users or eyeballs maybe, but for some platforms like YouTube or some more creator economy driven platforms will not only value the number of audiences but also the creatorships, so the quality of the YouTubers, what they actually can generate and produce as a content to populate the platform also is very important. So I think it really depends on the company's strategy, and based on that strategy, there could be some segments of users are more important than the other. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. In gaming platform, we say spending users, like paying users, we call it whale. So you spend a lot, is whale. If you spend a little bit less, then it's dolphin. You have tuna, you have a shrimp. But to have whales and dolphins, we need shrimps. Without shrimps, we're not gonna have dolphins and whales. So they are valuable in their own way. So some whales, they spend a lot of money, contribute to the revenue, and shrimps, they spend a lot of time in the game, so they contribute in that way. So they are valuable in their own way. But I think it's more important thing in game is players, users flow between games, because a lot of gaming platform I see, they just play one game and the other games are meaningless. For example, in Web3, they have 30 games, 40 games, 50 games, but only one game has huge audience, and other like 29 games are meaningless. I don't think that's the ideal platform. So what I think is important is player liquidity and players flow between games and among games. And Delabs, we came up with some interesting idea that we made our platform into a game. So platform is a game itself. It's like we have an inventory, and you have a digital assets from the games, and you plug in these digital assets in the inventory, and you can also expand the inventory, and you can mix and match different items in the inventory. Then you can have a boost across the platform and boost between the games. So gamifying the platform itself is a very unique way to hook the gamers and guarantee the player liquidity. that's what we are doing.
Thank you. Now that we talked about platform itself, and then we talked about the users, why don't we talk about the value of the platform? As a platform players, as a platform builders, how would you plan to maximize? How would you plan to create value that you can transfer it back to users? Could you? Why don't you start once again with Mr. Sadiq?
Yeah. So in our case, effectively what we figured out was people want to compete, especially when in gaming. The core value is competition, right? I mean, whether it is against their own performance or against others, whether as an individual or as a team. So what we wanted to figure out was what are the different ways and means that we enable people to compete in different types of formats. So which typically would not be part of the game in most cases, because from a game perspective they are getting they are trying to get their core loop right. In our case, we work with gamers who already play the game and play a game which has already gotten a core loop right. So so the value that we bring to our users is effectively discovering new competitive formats, discovering new games with different competitive formats, building your capabilities as a gamer in different types of formats, and also the workflows for what we call as people of influence, which is either creators or moderators, to effectively set these formats up for their users. So so there are it's like a multifaceted platform where there are certain set of users who just come in to set these tournaments, scrims, etc., and then there are certain set of users who come in to compete. Whether the games are Web2 or Web3, it depends on the genre. It also depends on the various competitive elements of the game itself. So that's effectively what we bring for the users, and hence, I mean, with very little marketing as such, we have been able to grow around 600,000 users in the last 8 or 9 months now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm a newbie in the gaming industry, but because I'm building a gaming platform right now, we've focused on the issues of the game studios more. So we believed that if we give value to the game studios, then the value would transfer to users. So it's like this. What I learned from the gaming industry is that it's really hard to create games. It takes a lot of money, takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but we don't know if this game will succeed or not. So it takes about 2-3 years to build the games, and they launch the games, and 100 DAU. And these cases are about 90. I read some article that 92% of the games, they fail. So what we wanted to provide to our game studios was that they launch their games in an alpha build. So if the game costs about 10 million, they spend only 3 million to build the games and launch the game. And we want them to create the game with the contributors, which are also the gamers, so that the studios can get feedback from the gamers and contributors and continuously improve the games before the launch, so that the game studios can go to the right direction using the same amount of money. And the problem with the game studios is that our game studios, they spend a lot of time fighting, like, should we develop our games this way or this way? Should we design the character this way or that way? And we believe that the user feedback can shorten the decision-making process and ultimately reduce the game development cost and make the game to go to the right direction. Yeah, thank you.
I think some of the points already brought up is really great. That gamifying the platform and getting more feedbacks from the users. Basically, we are putting more values to our gamers than before. So it's like empowering the community. And I've been thinking about this like as the Web3 or the future blockchain technology will, decentralize. So the platform will not be able to own the actual user data, and even the market will belong to blockchain instead of the game company. And even the game company cannot set the ground rules. So in that case, it's really about, I think, what gaming platform needs to provide to the gamer or gamer community is the tools for them to shape their own experiences and create their shared experiences. I think I've been like being too overly philosophical. All this we have just embarked on this platform journey, so we don't have like a real world experiences yet. But I think that in block what our approach that we're the direction that we're heading to is that we're not trying to scale first and wait for other builders to come in and be part of our platform. We want to first we build first, and by bootstrapping whatever our communities, our assets that are already interoperable between our games, and scale from there. So sort of about being a calling water for more game companies to join forces. That makes sense. I think that's what I believe platform needs to shape up in the future.
Yeah, I think the gaming platform, number one, you should have good games. Good fresh games keep coming out, so you have a lot of games to play. And number two, the gaming is all about experience. The experience to log in and all these things it should be very smooth. And what I really believe is the gaming platform should organically intertwine the games, the gamers, and the platform. It should be like all intertwined together. I think that is very important. And also in the Web3 gaming, we have gamers and we have investors, speculators. So how to the gaming platform make the interest aligned between the gamers and investors is also a very important topic we should tackle.
Just like your previous analogy about shrimp, clams, dolphin, whale, right? It's an ecosystem, and the ecosystem is supposed to have a lot of different players or different species, right? Thank you. So those are all prepared set of questions to remark the very last session of the Southeast Asia Blockchain Week. Any last remark, additional remarks that speakers want to add? Volunteer?
I think the point about the speculators and the gamers, I think that's always been the headache of even I think all the blockchain game companies. Because speculator is actually not one of the categories, not one of these fishes, right? So different types of different ilks of users, and then their behaviors are different, and there's very little overlap between gamers and speculators. So it's more like from game platform or game companies perspective, we need to decide on I think it's we learned for a fact that we have to take a different type of marketing, different type of communications to these two very distinct groups. So it has been always whether we should continue to target these both groups, or should we choose one over another? I think that's still an open question.
Oh, I think there's a not only gamer and speculator, investor. There's both gamer and investor. So there are three types: gamer, investor, and both gamer and investors. So, and I think investors are important to us as a Web3 gaming platform, gaming project, because investors are part of the our ecosystem. They can make a hype, they can invest, make our token price higher, that attract more gamers later on. So I think investors' interests should be aligned in the platform as well as the gamers.
I fully agree on that, and I think the investors, they take the risks of the game projects, but the important thing, I think, is the time frame. So the short-term speculative investments are really not good for long-term ecosystem improvements. So for a gaming project like us, we're just starting, and it's very important for us to gather the community and the investors and the ecosystem players. They all have a long-term vision, and I think it's the role of the platform and the company to build the community to have the same goal, and they all have to agree with our approaches, and they have to be the fans of our community and things like that. So it's like we are the world, like the Michael Jackson song, but we have to see the same thing and aim at the same strategic point. I think it's very important, and it's important to deliver these messages to our investors, speculators, gamers, and other Web3 users too.
Yeah, I think, I mean, from our perspective, the North Star metric is the user satisfaction. I mean, that's where we focus on, and our belief is that if we get that right, rest everything falls in place. So yeah, so that's
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the insights, and thank you all the audiences here who still remain until the very last minute of this week. Hope you enjoyed the conference. Hope you enjoyed the session, and then hope to see you once again.
Like.